All right, good afternoon. It's January 25th, Athena Protection Podcast here at Detroit Podcast, or Podcast Detroit, my apologies. Good afternoon. So, once again, we're in the house. So unfortunately, we couldn't be here last week due to the weather.
Oh, yeah.
That was crazy, wasn't it?
Bananas.
But you know what? I'm going to be honest. I have no complaints with it being, I think it's almost 40 degrees today.
I'm with you. I ain't complaining.
Well, I'm just coming back from Georgia, so I'm like,
Boo. Well, maybe you brought this weather with you. Thank you.
Man, please. This was bad like this when I left, and it was the same stuff when I came back.
Man, it's January 25th and it's 40 degrees. I'm not complaining.
No.
I want to get rid of that snow off the ground.
It'll be gone.
Yeah, it's leaving.
Just wait. It might be gone when we get out of here today.
Right.
But yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start off, Dan. Tell our listeners how they can get in touch with us out there.
All right. We are Athena Protection Service. You can get in touch with us at our website at athenaprotections.com. You can reach us on our 1-800 number at 800-951-4866. That's 1-800-951-4866. Or you can reach us on any social media platform, Athena Protection Service. And we offer security guard services, consulting, or any private investigations you may need.
And don't forget to hit that like button and that share button on YouTube for us. If anybody out there live streaming, thank you and hello. So before we get started, we got our resident guest in the house today, Mr. Marlon.
Hey, what's
How's
going
it
on?
going?
Hey.
Always interesting when you're on the show.
Well, yeah, I got a lot to say today, so.
I'm so surprised. Not something that we usually get out of you, so
yeah.
this ought to be interesting.
Here we go.
Man, so before we get started, one more thing, and I apologize. I want to shout out our sponsor, Athena Protection Foundation. So, Dan, tell listeners how they can...
You can reach Athena Protection Foundation at any social media platform just by looking at Athena Protection Foundation or athenaprotectionfnd.org. You can reach us through the website or any social media platform.
Okay, thank you for that. So what are we talking about today, guys?
Well, this is pretty much a run and gun show today. First of all, I like to give a shout out to the Huntington Woods Police Department. They at least still recognize and respect police courtesy, because it's on my way here. And I think I might have been going 5 or 10 miles over. I saw the guy sitting in the parking lot. And I was like, oh.
Okay, hold up.
Hold up, nothing.
When we was outside, you said it was 5 over, now it's 10 over.
5 or 10.
How fast was you going, motherfucker?
I don't remember, because I was looking at the radio, because I was trying.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, I saw the guy. I was like, oh, shit.
Okay.
And sure enough, he pull out, get behind me, flick the lights on. So he running the plate. So I had my police ID.
Okay.
And he's like, well, I was going to let you go anyway because you got a veteran's plate. And he's like, you got a police sticker on the car. So we got to, chatting it up for a hot minute and talking about the job. And then, I told him I was coming in here. And, because he was like, you going down to 11 Mile? Like, yeah. And I came up here to play. And he's like, okay, well, go ahead, be safe, and, take it easy. I was like, yeah.
Good
so,
for him.
Yep, good for him. Yeah, and fuck Centerline police. Y'all don't know nothing. Well, no, y'all ain't the police. Y'all public safety. I'm like, y'all get at me when y'all want to know how to be the real police.
All righty.
No,
So
he want to hate on Centerline.
I won't be going through Centerline anymore. Just burn that bridge down.
Yeah, I don't hate Centerline police. Just any Centerline police officers out there, 'cause I have not done anything.
Well, you ain't got to.
I'll second that.
You ain't got
Centerline, I love you.
No, you have done something. You black and you was the police, so yeah,
okay.
they hate that.
But
Yeah.
they didn't stop me.
Yeah.
So when they stop me, I might have a problem. But
Yeah.
I ain't got none right now.
You ain't got
What
none right
y'all
now,
do
but
with
yeah.
me. But hey, don't burn that bridge. You see my car, black Nissan. Don't pull me over. We all good.
Well,
I know, right?
but no, they had 2 idiot supervisors. The one dummy, I'm asking for my stuff. He's like, where's your ID? I said, you got my ID in your lockup. Oh, and he's like, you don't have your weapon, do you? I said, you got that too. I said, man, I'm trying to go home, get my keys, and go to sleep.
Okay.
And I said, y'all have no idea how to deal with people. But, like I said, I was going to say some other stuff, but my father was with me. I was just like, man, let's get your stuff and get out of here.
Okay.
So-
Let's be glad for your father. Give him a little hand for keeping you in check,
Right.
so you
Probably
didn't
was
get
about-
locked back up.
Exactly. It sounded like he was close to going back.
Yeah. So,
But in all honesty, man, we don't want to come across. Well, I know I don't. I'll speak for me and us as a whole.
Right.
We not here to bash the police. But
No,
there
never
is
that.
most definitely some work to be done. As
Exactly.
Marlon is saying here, just with the way you handle situations, and I think again it's unfortunate that there's so much fear involved with some of these interactions. Why these decisions don't come across as rational to us?
My
because
thing
of the
is,
level of fear. I think
when I go when I go with the thing with professional courtesy, it's like this: we got out here because you see how the media treats us.
exactly.
You know, so you see how the media and the citizenry of whatever jurisdiction you live in treat you.
Mm-hmm.
We got.
Right.
And regardless of what color you are, because like I said, I hate to say it, it's 2020, you still got white officers that can't stand black officers. And don't tell me you never saw that and you still don't see it.
If they can't stand black officers, they probably can't stand black people, period.
Well, yeah, that's true. But like I said, they
don't
hate.
think it's just a black officer.
No, but they hating that we got the same uniform on.
Uh-huh.
So that's what that is.
Okay.
Because again, I'm not going to, since we're not going to mention on that, I've been to another suburban jurisdiction with another officer.
Mm-hmm.
And those officers said, your badge don't mean shit on this side of 8 Mile.
Okay. And
So-
that could be true.
Yeah, so-
That's not a secret.
Yeah, so.
They know that. You know that.
Oh, I know that, but I'm like,
Yeah.
it's still, regardless of where you work, regardless of where your jurisdiction is, you some brothers and some sisters. Because like I said, driving, like what I noticed, and this was the first time I'd ever did it, when I was driving to pick my son up from Georgia, we had to go through, Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, and I'm looking, as I'm driving down the interstate, all these stretches that are just dedicated to fallen officers. I said, God damn. Officers dying left and right down here, because I'm like, I saw a good half dozen.
Wow.
Right.
That's-
And then I
that's
saw
unfortunate.
I saw a couple of officers pulling people over. My hat's off to all those state troopers. I'm like, because they out there one man cars. I mean, it's pitch black.
Right.
Ain't no lights out there. There's these signs saying falling rocks. Don't stop on the side. So
Man, that's the thing I don't like out there, those
I
fallen
said,
rocks.
I said, oh my God. I said, and they out here stopping people. I said, man, y'all better than me. 'Cause
Right.
I wouldn't be doing that.
Right.
Shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
Definitely. So what else you want to talk about, man? You say you had some stuff on the
Okay,
plate.
well, it was the other incident. It was an article I was reading this morning that I sent to you about those bodyguards. I mean, not bodyguards, bounty hunters.
Okay.
Looking for the guy, shot into the car, hit him. Then I guess there was a woman and a kid in the car. And my thing is, I'm not trying to hate on anybody's job or anything, but I'm like, I can't stand those bounty hunters because, in my opinion, either they wanted to be the police and couldn't be, or they were the police, did something stupid and got fired, so this is what they doing. I'm like, who told you it was okay to shoot in the car? Then, I guess they locked the guys up, which I'm glad DPD did that. I'm glad y'all did what y'all supposed to, lock them fools up.
The bounty hunters were locked up?
Yeah.
Okay.
For shooting the guy in the car?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know what they locked them up for because in the article it said they're taking something to the prosecutor's office. So
Okay.
I don't know what that could. But
Yeah.
the attorney for the bounty hunter's like, well, if Mike hadn't did this, he might have got hit. I said, but okay, number one, you shooting into a moving car. If you shoot the guy, guess what? The car gonna keep on going. Then, like I said, what happened if you'd have hit that woman or that kid? Then what would y'all have been saying or what would y'all have been doing? I'm like, y'all not the police. Stop being the police. As a matter of fact, I don't really know what the law is around here. I'm like, why they even doing this anyway? And I'm like, if there's a warrant out for this man, that's what the police and the sheriff's department is for.
So
That's
as far
their
as you
job.
know, they weren't returning fire. They were just
No, they wouldn't. No, what it was, I guess they're trying to say that the guy tried to run them over. That's going to be their story.
Okay.
That the guy was going to try to run them over. So but my understanding is they were hired by a bail bondsman company.
Okay.
So I'm looking at him like, okay, you going to have to just, you going to have to eat it on that money. I'm like, that guy,
Right.
if there's a warrant out for this guy, he dirty today, he going to be dirty tomorrow. He going to get got by the proper authorities at some point.
Exactly.
And like I said, not all you've done, you going to have to pay for this lawyer for these two idiots. And like I said, I can't stand them. Like I said, my interactions with them was always negative because I was always say, look, I'm the police. You stand back and watch me do my thing.
Why
you know,
why you hating the bounty hunters?
because like because like I just said, if you want to do law enforcement, go about it the way
they want to be bounty hunters.
Well, no, they like you heard what I just said before that. Either they wanted to be the police.
How you know that?
Because that's most of them. Either they wanted to be the police or they were the police and got fired.
You don't know that.
I bet money.
How much you want to bet?
I bet you $1,000.
I ain't got that.
We got our first bet of the new year.
I ain't betting you no 1,000.
Hey, well,
It's monopoly money. Go ahead.
Okay,
bet.
then I'll bet you that.
okay, look,
that's okay.
I'll get you a fifth. I'll get you a fifth of your favorite.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
all.
okay, there you go. I get you a fifth if I lose.
Now we
you know.
talking.
Yeah,
To our
yeah.
listeners, gambling is legal in the state of Michigan.
Yes,
now,
yes, it
so
is. Yes,
we're
it
not
is.
breaking
Yes, it
any
is.
laws.
Yeah,
here
that's
today.
a friendly bet. That's what we call a gentleman's bet.
Exactly. We just like to make sure we're abiding by the law here at
Right.
Athena Protection.
Right,
You know,
right.
But then the other thing, that other article, where they're disciplining those firemen for taking a picture in front of
taking a picture
in front of the
that
house.
fire.
You know what? I'm like, so what? I mean, they were told not to go in the house anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So what you want? What they supposed to do?
Not that, in my opinion, just because.
But see, my thing is this: I've seen it done before, and again, this was
Yeah,
before.
but you ain't see it on the internet. That's
Well,
the problem.
okay, that's what I was about to get to. I'm like,
Exactly.
but again, that was before
right.
these cameras and the social media. But my whole point is, and that's always been my argument. I'm not gonna let that garbage stop me from being me.
Right,
And
right.
I'm like, okay, people sit, and it's these new kids, and they didn't go through a whole lot of stuff that we did. Today's
So
generation.
wait, before we go further, let's back up. So just in case anybody out there didn't understand, we're talking about the situation where we had the Detroit Fire Department.
Right.
Looked like it was probably 10, 15 plus
Right.
Yeah.
firefighters out in front of a house that was in full blaze.
Right.
Just in case you weren't sure.
Right.
But continue.
Unoccupied.
Unoccupied. And they couldn't go in for safety reasons, as far as I know.
Right.
Okay,
And they
so-
took a
And they took-
retirement
they took-
picture
right, yep.
because somebody was retiring.
It was
They took
it was a
picture.
battalion chief, had 35 years on the job.
Right.
And they took a picture.
Yeah.
And now they trying to discipline these people.
I ain't got no problem with,
I'm like,
with
get
them
a- get
taking
outta
a
here.
picture. I don't know.
And what-
I
It
just
ain't-
know,
it ain't
I
a
just
big
know
deal
what
to me.
the media is going to take that,
They
which they've done.
They've done. They've turned. They twisted it and made it into more than what it was.
It's
and
like
that's what.
Eminem and 8 Mile. They're just burning
Right.
up houses.
And I'm like
Yeah.
that, and that's what I'm getting. It's like today's society, they're soft. Because I was watching something on YouTube a couple of days ago. We are wrestling fans here. We used to be. I know.
Until I found
Wait
out
a
it
minute.
wasn't real.
How recent wrestling fan are you? You still watch Monday Night Raw and all that right
No,
now?
I don't watch none of that stuff anymore. But I'm just, on YouTube, I watch the videos on the old people like, Ricky Dragon Steamboat,
Okay.
the Road Roy stuff.
Piper's Pit and
Piper's
all
Pit,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, okay.
But no,
All
they
right,
would,
I'm with
they
you.
brought up
I'm
some
with
stuff like things that were done back then couldn't be done now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
they couldn't be done now because today's society is a bunch of punks and sissies. Because they brought what I was watching was you remember that wrestler, the
That's
one
what I
man,
love when they come to the show.
The one man gang.
one man, yeah. They were talking about how he switched from
Uh-huh.
being the one man gang to being that Akeem, the African Dream.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were saying there's no way in the world you could do that character today. People will be out in front of the WWF's offices protesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, so what? It's a fat white guy wearing a dashiki and an African hat.
It's white people in Africa.
Yeah,
It's white people from Africa.
right. But
Quite a few
But-
in South Africa.
but like I said, but if they were to do that character today, there would be some kind of uproar.
What about Adrian Adonis?
That's
he
what
was
I was-
he
right,
was
right.
the gay wrestler.
You're up the flower shop. Remember, right? I was like him. I was like, there's no way in the world you could pull that character off.
Right.
But I'm like, it's just that who cares? I said that's just crazy. A lot of
Yeah.
stuff that we saw as kids,
Mm-hmm.
they just couldn't do now. And I'm just like, we turned out fine from looking at all that stuff.
Right.
Some of it probably was racist, and it was all in fun. That's
It was.
what I took it.
People just wasn't as sensitive back
Wait,
then.
that's my
about
whole point.
everything.
And we've talked about it before. I think what happens is because now everyone's always had an opinion, but now you have an opportunity to voice your opinion
Mm-hmm.
through the different, as we talked about so many times, social media things. So that's all that changed. I think, about when we talk about back in the day, so many things that I don't miss, I'll say. Growing up, I don't want to tell my age, but I remember us getting our first microwave.
I do too.
So,
Yeah.
I remember when TV went off
Okay. Yeah,
It wasn't
I
on,
remember that.
or like I said, I remember when cable consisted of you either had On, It, or HBO.
Oh, no,
We ain't
TV
had
went
cable
off.
back then. We was a little poorer than you.
Right.
I ain't had no cable in the 80s.
Your people live down the street from me,
That I didn't live there.
but you was there.
I was over there sometimes. They had cable. I ain't had none.
So most definitely fast forward, you know. I remember as a kid watching the Jetsons and thinking, man, that's so awesome, some of those things. And here we are in 2020, not quite 2062 as the show
Right.
was representing. For those
Well,
you
how
didn't
did
know.
you know that?
How did I know that the show came?
Yeah.
They did
well, the
some
show
research.
came out in 1962, and they actually were 100 years in the future.
Oh,
So,
I didn't. I was unaware.
so that's what the
and-
Jetsons.
well,
Because
I
here
found-
lately, people with the
I was not hip to that.
Well, no, they had a documentary on it, so that's how I found out. So.
You watched the Jetson documentary?
I have no life.
All right.
but you know, for us to be in
That
2020
is
and the
big
technology that
confirmation.
we have now, it's a lot of that technology that I love. You know, I have my hates for some of it, but you know, it's a lot of it that we can appreciate and love. So we're not gonna bash it all.
Well, we don't have a flying. Well, no, there are flying cars. We just can't afford them.
What?
No, I said, well,
I mean,
I said we don't have flying cars, but I said there are flying cars. It's just we can't afford them.
What flying car?
Look it up online. There's a lot of them. I mean,
Yeah,
not
there's
like
a few out
There's
there.
a few.
There's a few
All
out
right,
there.
y'all on what fucking website y'all going on seeing flying cars?
Just put it in
they're
there.
out
I mean, it ain't like the Jetsons where you get the little put thing in the back. I mean,
Okay.
these cars have rotors and all that. You know,
Yeah.
it drives. And you got to flick a switch, then they come down and go up, and it flies for a couple miles.
I mean, just the technology you think about
Okay.
something like FaceTiming, you know.
Yeah,
we thought
yeah.
that was the craziest thing. Watching Get Smart back in the day and the shoe phone, and now 8-year-olds have phones.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Most definitely, there's things that are beneficial from it. I love some of the technology. Can't knock it.
Right. I ain't knocking it.
But you think about the somebody was laughing. I was joking with him, laughing around. We was talking about how back in the day, because there was no social media, the man of the house could have him a whole nother family just on the other side of town and didn't have to
Exactly.
worry about them running into
Right.
each other, nothing. Now, you know, you go over to your little side piece and she want to put you on social media while you sleep. Look at my boo sleeping so comfortably. Like, you know, damn well that ain't your boo. That's such and such husband you got over there. So
It was funny. It was again. I was watching
She
something.
might not know that though.
she know. She know.
But no, it was funny. I was watching YouTube again this morning. I was watching my favorite comedian right now is Earthquake. That guy is fucking
I
hilarious.
love Earthquake.
He
Yeah, I
is-
love her.
So they were doing an interview with him, and he was talking about his time in the Air Force, and I guess they were in some kind of formation, and they were calling people's names, and they called his name. He stood up, and another guy stood up. And you know they looked at each other, and then afterwards they got to talking, and then found out they was brothers because they had the same father.
Wow.
Damn.
And then what it is, I guess the guy had like 27 kids, and he named all the kids, the boys, after him. Junior, he had, you know,
I think 27 juniors.
well, not he had
the
he had
thirds
sons
and fourths and
yeah,
all
well, I don't
that?
know how many sons, but yeah, he had a mixture of sons and daughters. But he had 27 kids altogether.
Okay.
And then like I
But
said,
every different woman he had a junior.
well, how Earthquake explained it was, his father would tell these women that the kids that he was having, that was his first kid.
Oh,
So,
okay. All right.
Oh yeah, that makes it better.
but I was like, I don't think you can get away with that now. That you know,
No. probably not.
Facebook and
Probably
all this
not.
other nonsense.
Probably
And then I just said, "Wow, you know, this is crazy. This is crazy." But no, you know, social media is the devil as far as I'm concerned.
Right. So
Or I'll be nice. It's a blessing and a curse.
It is. Let's
So-
talk about my man at the bank. Let's go
Oh
there.
yeah,
Let's go
then
there.
yeah.
What's going on with the guy at the bank? He tried to rob it. What happened?
No.
He didn't try to rob it.
It was this guy. He had 3 settlement checks because I guess he had sued his job and got 3 checks.
Yeah.
He went to a TCF bank in
Wait,
Livonia.
why did he sue his job?
Racial
Racial discrimination.
So he was being discriminated against
Yes.
on
Yes.
the job.
Yes.
And won the suit.
And won the suit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was going to deposit 3 checks that he got. And they were
At the TCF bank he had been at for 2 years.
2 years.
Okay. And he robbed it?
No.
No, he didn't rob it.
No.
He didn't rob it.
He just didn't have funds in the accounts or nothing they would think was substantial. I think he had maybe $60 in the account.
But he was wanting the cash check and just walk out
No,
with the cash?
no.
No,
He wanted to deposit. He wanted to open a savings. He wanted to put money in the account that he had.
Makes sense.
He wanted to open a savings account, and he wanted to deposit all the checks. And I think he wanted $4,000 in cash.
Okay.
So,
sound pretty simple to me.
the teller takes the checks. I guess she found something. She said she found something fishy with the checks. Go gets her manager. The manager talks to him, trying to placate him. While in the background, somebody's calling the police.
Wow.
Police get there, and they want to accuse him of bad check. He explains the situation. Why he got the checks, this, that, and the third. Long story short, he decides, nah, you know what? I'm closing my accounts. I'm going to Chase Bank. He went to Chase Bank up the street. They took the checks, no problem.
Wow. So it sounds like to me, you cashing the lawsuit check. Let me get this right. So you cashing the lawsuit check for discrimination.
Yes.
And get discriminated against.
Yes.
So now you're getting ready to get another check.
Yeah. So he sued TCF too.
Yep.
Hey, if that ain't justice, I don't know what is.
But the funny thing is, they were trying to say, well, no, the teller and everybody did the procedure. The checks showed up void, and this wasn't racial. I believe the teller or the manager, one of them was black. So I guess at that point everything was okay. I said, man,
but he called the lawyer and had the lawyer send the paperwork over to the bank, proving that it was a real check.
And that's unfortunate because I know when hell I'd have went through all those steps to give somebody some of my money, give you my business.
Right.
That would be like begging McDonald's to take your money at the shake machine ain't working, the filet of fish is bad, and get out of here. He was begging them to take his money. See, that's where we got to stop. I'm glad that justice will be served, but we got to stop begging people to do business with us.
Yeah, you should have got up and left.
Okay, here we go. Let me see. How much money was it?
No, they didn't say.
No, they did.
They
gave a list of.
They said it was an undisclosed amount.
No, he had
the suit for.
No, he had. Well, they didn't give how much he got for the lawsuit. They just gave how much he had in them 3 checks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see, this is a different article, so now that stuff is gone. But I'm like, yeah, they were 3 rather large. I know one was like for about $50,000. I think one was like for maybe $30,000, and another was like about $15,000.
Damn. I'll take
and all he was asking for was $4,000 out of just some quick math over $70,000, and he only wanted $4,000.
Yeah, he wanted to deposit the rest, and he just wanted $4,000 in cash.
Yeah. Hats off to him. We're gonna have to try to see if we can do some digging and maybe get him on the podcast one day. Talk about that situation. That's unfortunate.
It is.
That's horrible that goes on in the 21st century. So.
All right, so I got one for y'all. School under fire by the ACLU using a program called Gaggle. And Gaggle,
I heard a little bit about that.
Yeah.
What's
Gaggle,
that about?
this program monitors student activity looking for signs of bullying, suicide, or violence. So the ACLU is trying to say that it's invading the privacy of the users, but in my opinion, if you in school, you should have no expectation of privacy on school property.
Exactly.
So, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, hell, I remember being in school, and every so often the police would come through sniffing the lockers, looking for drugs.
What school you go to?
Benedictine.
Oh, okay. They had a lot of drugs up in there. This was in the '80s, right in the crack height. So y'all was selling a lot of crack in there.
It was a private.
Or some people were selling some crack in there.
It was a private school, man.
Y'all was buying the crack.
I never saw none of the stuff. I'm just assuming, like I said, that was a private school with some privileged kids. If anybody was doing something illegal, they was doing it wrong, and they were just trying to be tough, like some idiots they saw out in the street somewhere. It wasn't it wasn't nothing real.
Oh, okay.
As far as I remember, so.
I think I used to play basketball up there.
But see, like again, that's another thing where society has, taken authority from school. Like I said, the person up in them schools was the vice principal, and ours was this mean white guy named Mr. Mack. And I was like,
everybody, Mr. Mack.
Everybody was scared of him.
Right.
But see now, these kids they have no fear. They run their mouths. What you ain't gonna do, or blah blah blah. Then your parents come up there. Instead of assisting the people that's watching your kids for a majority of the day, you getting on their case, So.
Well, overall, I hear the program is somewhat successful.
Okay.
Stopped about 700 suicides, or intervening in suicide attempts, or people that wanted to commit suicide over the last year.
But you see, again,
And they want to stop this program?
The ACLU do. They think it's an
the
invasion of
ACLU
privacy.
wants to stop everything.
Yeah.
I think they involve themselves in too much to, something, And then, like I said, but bullying. I'm like, my God. Again, that goes back to what I said earlier. This generation is soft because I remember. I'm not gonna say his name.
They're a reflection of the generation prior.
Well, I said
Always.
so clearly we fucked up somewhere.
Yeah.
But but I'm just trying to think. But like there was this one kid. We fucked with him from the 6th grade all the way to the 12th grade.
And he ain't try to stab none of y'all.
Well,
or shoot the school up.
No, that senior year, we was messing with him in the bathroom. He had a briefcase. Pulled out a butcher knife.
Okay.
We left his ass alone after that.
Okay.
But
why we got to get that far?
But but that's where it got to. But I'm like, he never killed himself. Actually, the guy's pretty successful right now.
Okay.
So I'm like,
I hope you're not trying to say y'all helped him.
No.
I'm
not. No. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just what I'm saying is, as badly as we fucked with him, what did I say? Almost like what 8-9 years.
That's a long time.
Consecutively fucking with him, and I'm like, he didn't kill himself, didn't feel suicidal or nothing.
Well, he only had to deal with it during school hours.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now you go home, you got to deal with it on the internet.
Well, no, actually, he kind of had a fucked up home life as well, but not to the extent of what we were doing. But
so
some
y'all
of that was
just terrible. All right, I get it.
I'm gonna be honest with you too. I think some of it come from, we all come from different backgrounds and had different views on life in general. I know Dan and I coming from the large family that we come from. Our mother and my mother and his father being brothers. 15 of them in the house, and ton of grandkids in the house. We played what we called a dozens, whether it was, something as basic as talking about somebody's second toe being longer than their big toe, or somebody burped and it smelled like rotten eggs, and we any little opening, we go at you and you get it. You fry the egg, and it wasn't done all the way. When you bit into it, yolk squirt out.
Fart contest going.
Oh yeah.
So I say that being in that big family, only the strong could survive. So we always attack the weakest link, and the weakest link, we demanded that you fend for yourself. In this day and age, kids say, "Oh my God, you're fat" on social media, and now. And again, I'm not justifying it, but nowadays that's such a sensitive thing, and you're bullying. They're even accusing parents of bullying their own kids and shaming them by saying things like you're overweight or this, that, and other. And I know when I was a kid, if you told me that I was fat, I'd immediately respond that your mama fat, and I wouldn't let it faze me. And I'm not saying that everybody can just do that, but I think coming from different type of backgrounds, you take things differently. But I have to agree with you, Marlon, because I already know what you're going to say. We have gotten soft in a lot of things. But again, like I said, I think part of that is because everybody, now kids, not just getting it from family members, being in a big family, they're getting it from everybody at school and not knowing how to react to that.
Well, I'm like,
I think we need to come up with a how to play the dozens training course.
Or I look at it like this, a lot of things my parents did now or your parents, it would be considered child abuse now. I remember my mother beat my ass with a pennant flag, and I had and I had whelps on my legs.
Said with a what?
A pennant flag, like one of them little sports flags that you used to hang up on your wall in your room and
stuff.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had whelps. She put Vaseline on my legs and made me go to school.
Before or after?
After.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, man, that's kind of sick. She did it before.
No, after. But I'm like,
science of the limb, get the lotion.
Yeah. But in this day and age, they'd have took me and my brother. CPS would have came to the house if they'd have found out about that. Took me and my brother. I said, I said, I don't necessarily condone it. I understand it now that I'm older, but I'm like, that made me who I am. I wasn't, I got in trouble, but not to the extent of like a lot of these kids where the police never had to come to the house. Well, here's your son,
Right.
Every once in a blue moon.
Yeah, a certain level of values.
Every once in a blue moon, the school would call and say, you know what, Marlon fucked up, this, blah. And that was it,
Yeah.
But these kids, now, it's
Yeah.
I don't know.
The good part of technology, though, and the advancement, and when we think about it, a lot of the kids that went through, the what we thought was just discipline, always being devil's advocate here, or devil's advocate. The flip side to that is the kids who don't know how to handle conflict without violence, because that's not how they was taught as kids. When you did something wrong, you got a whooping for it. So if you and I can't agree that, for example, XY receiver in the NFL, AB, I won't say his full name, needs help and is appearing to be an idiot. If you disagree with that, you and I would, go back and forth for a few rounds, but then, one of us would punch the other one in the face, because when you get in a conflict, which really is just a debate on whether or not you agree with that individual, we don't know how to, come to a resolution without violence. And that's what unfortunately was happening with a lot of the kids. They related it to that. So that's just my devil's advocate on it. I'm not taking away from our society being soft right now, but that's most definitely something that I can somewhat agree on. But
let's see. Then let's see, what was that other thing with the chief of police wants to sit down? Well, he already has with them kids that stopped up
Detroit.
94, with that drifting or drag, whatever they was doing. I'm like, he wants to find somewhere safe for them to do that kind of stuff. I'm like, so for the last 15-something years, they done did that all over the city, drag racing,
it's been longer than that.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm just talking about as far.
Shout out French Road back in the day.
Well, no, I'm just talking about, just during my law enforcement career. I'm like, it's gone on a lot, because like I said, I remember my father doing that stupid stuff. But I'm like, I'm like, well, let's find somewhere for them to do it safely. I'm like,
they want to monetize it.
I said, well, I guess that's it. Because I'm like, what you mean? I'm like, we got called out to this stuff because I'm like, they doing this stuff in people's neighborhoods, people trying to sleep. You got the girls out there shaking their ass, they out there drinking, all this other stuff, doing all this crazy stuff. And then when the police come, they want to scatter. Because that's the other thing. One of the guys from the group, they was talking, we're tired of running from the police and getting our cars taken. Stop doing what you ain't supposed to be doing, and you ain't got to worry about that.
Yeah, like I said, I think if we could, not we, but if a location for those type of things, because it needs to be some safety involved. I know I was looking at it, never mind the fact that he literally stopped traffic, but I was just looking at the way it was being filmed, and, I'm like, man, I don't know how nobody got hit out there, or, somebody didn't lose control and hit another car, or most definitely hit a person. That was my biggest concern. But it can't be in the middle of the lodge. No. Even though I enjoyed going to street racing on Illinois and Tire Man, or I won't tell all the spots.
Well, yeah,
I'm sure the authorities know where they are.
They
but
know where
on
they
the east side, on French Road, 75 in Clay. Bike night. So most definitely some safety concerns out there. But just, I think it'll be a good idea, me personally, if they can come up with a location. But again, it's going to get commercialized. It's going to have regulations, but I think that's necessary for safety reasons.
Yeah, that's the proper write-off.
But, if you want to get out there and race your car and, you want to bet and, bet for titles and all that, I feel like you need to have some place where
now you got me
that.
thinking off into one of them conspiracy theories. I'm like, okay, so what's Craig's agenda for, he trying to be like, he's the mediator for everything. So I'm like, he get done with this police work. I'm like, you trying to look at all I did in Detroit and blah. What you trying to, is that what he trying to do? Just get a resume?
In my opinion, just from the way he came in, and you know more than I do, you guys, I'm sorry, have an opportunity to work actually for him or with him. I'm sure you guys know more, but I always felt like he had a bigger agenda, and Detroit most definitely is a stepping stone. All I would ask of the man and continue to make the city look better, and I feel like the city.
He's the deputy mayor, so.
The city, right? The city as a whole, I feel like for me personally, it's a little bit safer.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing with that, Alex, I like some of the things he's done, and there's some things I don't like. But I feel when they initially hired him, City Council didn't do their homework because I saw it, and I haven't been able to find it since. Because he always puts up the fact that he was a Detroit police officer. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
I'm like,
he wasn't the police that long.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, you got hired. You got laid off at 3 years on the job. Now, everybody that's the police know you don't stop being a rookie until you've gotten at least 5 years on. So he got laid off at 3 in Detroit and went to Los Angeles. That's where he learned how to be the police in L.A. Not to, so stop saying you didn't stay here long to be DPD.
Right.
You got laid off.
No,
but
honesty, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. 3 years on DPD, and that's where you can stick your chest out. To me, it's the equivalent of 10 years any place else.
That's probably why they hired him. That's probably why they hired him.
But until you really 5 years in,
I understand what you're saying.
You get comfortable enough to where you don't have to constantly call for help for a supervisor, and you can pretty much handle the runs on your own at that point. You don't always need assistance.
But let's say in
but
example,
somewhere else,
you in Centerline, your favorite place. How long is it taking, in honesty, for a rookie there to truly be?
The 10th precinct is 100 times larger than Centerline's the size of a shoebox.
So that's my point. When you in a big city like Detroit, because I've always, heard that as a DPD officer, it's like playing basketball in New York. If you can be a DPD officer, damn it, you can go anywhere in the world, and you're going to be looked at as the top.
But getting back to what I was saying with Chief Craig, what it is like I said, where I feel the city council didn't do their due diligence, or they was just like the hell with it. Right. It was either Channel 4 or Channel 7 back in the 80s.
Okay.
They did a story where they interviewed Chief Craig and 2 other officers that got laid off from Detroit and went to other departments. They interviewed the chief while he was a sergeant in L.A. And 2 other officers that left and went to Dallas. And what I remember about the whole interview was, they had the chief. He was in the scout car patrolling, and they had the news people in the back. He was talking about how he felt a whole lot safer in L.A. than he did here. He said he would never come back here unless they made him chief of police. And, to me, it kind of felt like you bad-mouthing the place that just hired you 30-something years ago.
If they're paying you $200,000, that's some incentive.
But I just thought it was. I
see me forgiving a lot.
My whole thing was I thought it was ironic that like maybe 30-something years in the past he said he would never come back as a chief, and then bam, what happened? They made him chief.
I've been married twice, so obviously my thoughts on that is a little different.
Right.
I never thought I'd do it again, and I damn sure don't want to do it.
But I was like, to
That'll
me,
be in my wedding in 2 years.
But to me, as being a Detroit officer at the time, or a resident of the city, I'm like, I kind of took that as an insult. I'm like,
slap in the face.
You dog in the city, but here they done hired your ass. They done rehired you, and then this time now you the top dog. But 30 years ago, you dogged this place.
Right.
And I'm like, maybe it was because you was mad because you got laid off. I'm like, okay, well, you the short man on the stick. You and a whole bunch of other people had to go.
Okay.
Last one hired, first one fired.
That's how it goes.
That's how it go.
Chrysler did me like that.
When I think about myself 30 years ago and my mentality, is almost like when I think back to decisions I was making as a teenager or in my 20s. Maybe going out to L.A. and getting more time out there. And again, I'm not taking up for the man. I just know that when I look back on all of the chiefs we've had, I feel like the city has went in a better direction. But not to take up for him, I'll say just in general, I feel like people grow.
Right.
And if you had a mic in front of me 30 years ago recording my views on life,
That'd be
women,
different.
crime and anything else.
Well, see
Right.
again, but see, they say, yeah, okay, we can say that, but he was a sergeant, so he was a supervisor. So I'm like, come on, let's show a little decorum, you know. So I'm
Exactly.
like, okay, so yeah, you not only were you the police and you were at that time you were a supervisor. So come on, because he always wanted to throw his supervisor under the bus here. I'm like,
We're going to have to get
You
James
know.
Craig on the show.
That would be helpful.
yeah, that'll
If
never
you're out
happen.
there listening, we want you on the show.
That'll
Never
never
know,
happen.
man. We getting bigger every day.
But you know,
Might
I
be
will
sitting right there
the
next
best,
to you.
The best chief I think we had, or he at least was trying to, and they didn't give him a chance, was James Barron.
Okay.
Southfield Chief.
No, that's
who was that? Who was that?
That no,
That was
I
Southfield.
believe that's his son or one of his relatives. But
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, James Barron.
Okay.
No, the Southfield chief is Elvin. I don't.
Yeah,
that's either
right,
his.
that's right,
That's I
that's
don't know
right.
if that's his son or nephew, but I believe they're related.
Okay.
But no, James Barron, because he came in at the time where the department, that was like right after that Jerry Oliver debacle. You know, the department's morale was just at a low. And I got to say, you know, I wasn't trying to do nothing out there. You know, I was just coming to work. He actually motivated me to go back to doing, you know, proud to be the police and go out there and do police work. But they, you know, that's when Dave Bing was the mayor.
Okay.
They didn't give him a chance to, you know, do anything. I'm like, he lifted morale up. I'll give him that. I believe they let him go. I don't know if this is true. I don't even know if I want to say it, but it's, I guess there was some money earmarked for the department, and the city government wanted to do something else with it. And Barron was like, no, this money's going to be it's for the department, and that's what we're going to use it for. And I guess they didn't, you know, like that answer. So, you know, when it was time to get rid of them, they did. But, you know, I was like, he made your police department, you know, because everybody I talked to was motivated, and the laziest motherfuckers out there was motivated to go back to doing work.
Wow.
All right.
So I'm like, if he was able to do that, he was doing something right. That and the fact, you know, at that time, my uncle had passed, and he didn't know me, but he actually sent my father a handwritten letter apologizing for the death of his brother. And, you know, I took that to heart, you know, so the man will always be tops with me just for that. I'm like, he didn't know me.
yeah.
He didn't know me or my father.
That's awesome.
And sent my father a letter.
That's
So, you know, so.
couple
really
things
nice.
I want to cover real quick before we leave. CPL holder shot a robber in Warren.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I heard
3
about
a.m.
that.
This happened Wednesday night.
It's footage of that too.
Yes. Somebody ring was
You see, I don't
activated.
like I don't like them ring things, but yeah, go on
I
ahead.
don't know why, but here we go. The ring was activated. You hear multiple shots going off. My man went to go see a show or something.
Yeah, he was coming home from the movie.
Pull up to the drive his driveway 3 a.m. The guy run up on his porch on him.
Okay.
He see the guy coming up with the pistol. He pull his gun out.
Okay.
They exchange multiple rounds.
Yeah, I
and
saw
you
that.
can see on the ring video, my man go down, try to get up, and dude fire more shots at him, and he go down again.
Now, was this the victim that went
No.
down?
Victim
or
is
the-
going down.
Okay.
Yeah, with a robber.
No, the suspect went
yeah,
down.
the little suspect going
okay,
down.
So
Yeah, so he go and jump back in the car. The Warren police hear the shots going off and end up chasing the guy, and they end up finding him in the car shot 2
Wow.
times.
all them shots, he only got hit twice.
He only got hit twice.
That's how it be sometimes.
But
Right.
you know when that adrenaline go off,
Exactly.
you just
and
get
I'm,
to shooting.
and I'm just know
Yeah.
fact
Right.
checking here. So
Mhm.
wow, that's interesting. Like I say, I saw some footage of it. I wasn't sure if it was the victim or the so-called
No, it's the suspect that's
Yeah,
in the
it's the
hospital.
the suspect
Yeah,
or
he got
the
shot.
homeowner that was going down, because you could even hear it too. He was saying,
Right.
he even was telling them, which you idiot or whatever. He was saying something to
Yeah.
him like, get down. It was almost like he was trying to warn him, if you keep it up, I'm gonna kill you.
Well, like I said, I wish they would open up that little substation. They got 24 hours. That might help if they stop to stop some things.
Right.
But you know,
Because we
These green lights ain't stopping nothing. What make you think a substation gonna stop
well,
something?
Warren is a little smaller than Detroit for that. And then, like I said, and I'm just saying that because it's across the street from my house. I would just prefer
You
for
would
them
like for it to be open? Okay,
be
all
open
right.
24/7.
Okay.
You know,
So as we
advocating.
get ready to wrap up today, most definitely shout out to that CPL holder for standing his ground, and I will say I was concerned about the amount of gunfire that was going back and forth. Where were those bullets going? We talk about it when we
we
do
talked
those
about that once
classes.
before. Yeah.
Right.
So that was a lot. If only 2 of those bullets hit him, both of them were firing back and forth, I'd be safe in saying there were well over 10 plus shots fired. And if only 2 hit, that's a lot of bullets flying around in the neighborhood.
Yes, it was.
So CPL holders, shout out to all of you out there. If there's anyone looking to get a CPL, we're most definitely available for that.
That's something we're going to talk about
another
show.
These things in the class. But as we wrap up here today, first off, I want to thank you, Marlon, for your insights.
Hey, I love it. I love it.
Current affairs, and I really appreciate your input and getting your view on kind of inside the DPD from your time there as well, you, Dan. But
my warp review.
As we get ready to wrap up here, tell our listeners and any viewers how they can get in touch with us.
Again, you can get in touch with us at AthenaProtections.com. You can reach us on our 1-800 number at 800-951-4866. It's 1-800-951-4866, or you can reach us on any social media outlet at Athena Protection Service.
All right, and don't forget to hit that like button and share on
Please
your
do.
social
Please
media.
do.
Yeah.
But hey, guys, thanks again for an awesome show.
One more thing before we go. Multiple missing persons last week. I want to just real quick, there was 5 missing people. In particular, there was the one that was missing since July. The mother think that there's some kind of human trafficking, probably more likely a prostitution situation where she was groomed by somebody. The girl was 16 years old. Her name was Maria Hall, 16.
Okay.
Mother think that she was groomed by somebody online, and the girl ended up running away.
You talking about that girl that was in Hamtramck that they found in Toronto?
No, she is from Trenton. And her mother is concerned. There's a reward for $7,500 that may lead to an arrest for her. You can reach Crime Stoppers at 1-800-SPEAK UP if you got some information you want to collect that money.
All right, and not more than just the money. Let's get that young lady home safe. But
That's
hey,
right.
We out of time here today. Thanks again, everybody. Podcast Detroit.
Same time next week, same channel.
Yep.
No, that's right. We out of here.
All right.
Ugh.